My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, so this is my year of less stuff. I'm trying to end the year with less stuff than I started with. And I'm also budgeting for beauty, but I gave myself a yearly budget instead of a monthly budget this year. As you know, if you've watched my check-in video, I spent a large chunk of my yearly budget in February. So not only did I buy way more things than I sort of ideally hope to bring into my life in any given month, but I also spent way more of my budget than I had hoped to ever spend in a given month. And I don't feel like I have the wherewithal right now to reflect very much on that. But I did a lot of reflecting in that video. I kind of explained everything that happened. I talked about how I'm feeling about it, why I think it happened, and what my plan is for moving forward. This is the video in which I just report back about what I bought, and there's usually a lot of like reflection and emotional stuff and storytelling going on in this video. I think I'm really going to make an effort just to like tell you what I bought, just so I can get through it, because not only are there a number of things on the list of things that I bought, but it was also my birthday. And usually in this video I talk about the things that I bought and also the things that I acquired by other means, so that I can catalog them and add them all up and give you like the number by which my stuff number increased in that month. So I did do that. I did add everything up. I am going to do that, but it's just a lot of stuff. It's like way more things than I hope to take into my life in any month for the rest of the year. I really hope that it's that way. And it makes sense that it would be way more things because it's like my super spendy month on top of my birthday month. So it's like the gifts and the things that I bought for myself. The point is just that I hope that you are prepared for me to just show you the things and tell you about the things, and I probably won't be able to keep from talking about my feelings, but I am going to try to keep from going like on and on and on and repeating the information that I gave. Basically, once again, if you haven't seen my check-in, I highly recommend watching it before you watch this video, because otherwise you might just be like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff. What happened? Slow down, sister. Give us the DL. I already gave you the DL. It was just in another video. So if you haven't seen that one, stop now, pause this, go watch that, and then return. If you have seen that one, we're all on the same page. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So this will be the order of events. I'm going to tell you about the replacements that I purchased this month. Then I am going to tell you about all the things I purchased with my budget and how much they added up to and how many items they ended up being all together. And then I will run through the things that I got for my birthday and the things that I acquired by other means, like the things that I got in PR and how much they all added up to in terms of numbers. And then I'll talk about how many things I ended up taking into my life this month, and I'll mark them all down on my stuff in side of the sheet on which I'm keeping track of my stuff in and my stuff out. Starting with replacements. I only had to replace 2 things this month. It's interesting. I talked in my check-in video about how I think some of the frenzy of buying has been a result of having gone 2 years with such stringent measures in place that I feel like there are a lot of things that kind of need replacing. But a lot of those things that need replacing aren't things that are truly technically replacements. Like they're things that I'm refreshing, but I'm having to pay for them from my budget. So even though I feel like some of that was going on, it was like pants, casual clothes, pajamas, things that I was replacing. That's what I was talking about in that check-in video. And those are things that had to come out of my budget. The only 2 things that I replaced in February that didn't have to come out of my budget were body and hair care items. So I replaced my body soap. I ran completely out of body soap, which is such a triumph. It's so great to literally have used like the last bit of a certain kind of thing and then to be able to choose it for myself. As someone who has received some gifts and some PR, it's actually really refreshing to have used up everything and to be able to actually pick my own and spend my own money on it. I got the big bottle because I wanted to get the most value for money. If I'm buying my own body wash, it's like I want to get a good one and then I want it to be a long time before I have to replace it again. So this is the one that I ended up getting after much research. It's the Bioderma Atoderm Huile de Douche. It says Ultra Nourishing Anti-Irritation Shower Oil. I believe that there are a couple of different kinds of Bioderma Atoderm or like Bioderma sensitive skin body wash. One of them is like a cream, one's a gel, and one is an oil, and I picked the one that is an oil. It says it is for dry, very dry, or irritated sensitive skin, cleanses, restores lipids, and soothes. It's their ultra nourishing anti-irritation shower oil. I didn't particularly set out to get something to soothe dry skin, but as I was looking around, I was really looking for something that I would feel like was kind of indulgent, like something that I would feel like was special in some way, but that has a low cost per ounce so that I could get a lot but not pay too much for it. I wanted it to feel luxurious without having like luxury pricing. And then when I found this and I felt like it kind of fit the bill, I realized that I actually do have quite dry skin on my body. I know I have dry skin on my face and I do a lot to deal with that. With the dry skin on my body, what happens is, because I don't really like putting on lotion, I just get itchy kind of and like uncomfortable sometimes in my skin. And I try to use oils on my body, but I'm not that religious about it. And when it occurred to me that I could get like a very skin nourishing and dryness treatment type body wash that I would like a lot, and it's in this kind of beautiful, like, I don't know, chemist feeling and French pharmacy feeling packaging, I was like, queen, this is the one for me. It has a floral smell. It has kind of like a faint floral smell. Nothing too offensive. I'm not like in love with it, but the texture I really am. It comes out from the pump like an oil. I love that it's in this pump bottle so I can just pump it into my hand in the shower. And then it feels like it goes on like a nourishing sort of thick oil, and then it goes quickly into a lather. It lathers up a bit and then it washes off. And I haven't had a speck of itchy or dry feeling skin on my body since I got that. So that was a great choice for me. And I feel like it wasn't that costly. Yeah, it was only $20. Sorry, my notes on my computer screen are usually right here in front of me, but I put my computer on the floor because I'm uploading another video as I film this one. And the fan on my computer is like going full blast because as it tries to render the video, it heats up a little bit. It just has to work really hard to do that. And I don't want the camera to pick up the noise of the fan of my computer. So my notes are like down here on the carpet. So yeah, it was 20 bucks. And I looked around. You can find it in a lot of places. I looked on Amazon. There are just a lot of sources for this, but I ended up buying it from Beautylish. Beautylish carries it. And I did that because Beautylish also carries the other thing that I wanted to buy, the other replacement that I needed to make. I used up my last drop of shampoo in January, and in February it was time to replace it. And I can't remember which video it was in which I was talking about my two options. I was thinking about getting the Aesop volumizing shampoo because those bottles are so beautiful and I've always fetishized them and dreamed about having one in my shower. And I did get a sample of the Aesop shampoo and I washed my hair with it, and the next day my hair was quite texturized and volumized, and I was kind of impressed because I wasn't that impressed by the ingredients list, but I was impressed by the way my hair looked the next day. And then for the entire week after that, I really struggled to get my hair to have the volume that it usually has. It was like flat on top. And it finally occurred to me on like the third or fourth day that maybe the shampoo hadn't done my hair as much of a service as I thought it had. So I decided against buying that, and I went with my other option, which is the R&Co Cactus Texturizing Shampoo. And I'm so glad that I chose this. This is a fantastic shampoo for me. It is basically the R&Co version of IGK's 1995, which had been my holy grail shampoo for a long time. I think it's being discontinued, and I could have purchased it from the IGK website for half price. I think that they are still trying to sell off old stock, but I thought I might as well go ahead and branch out and try to find something as good as that just because I had the opportunity, rather than like using it until it wasn't available anymore and then being like, I don't know what to do now. And I have to confess, I was partly motivated by the fact that I have a channel on YouTube where I talk about beauty products, and I was like, I want to be able to review something new that might be a stand-in for that one when it goes out of stock. And it is. It's exactly that. Even the liquid feels, this is more creamy. Like when you squeeze it out of the bottle, it holds its shape of a little dollop, whereas the IGK one was a little bit runny. So I like that about this. The smell is a little bit better because they've used their R&Co perfumery powers to enhance the smell, but it still smells pretty earthy. It's not too overpowering for me. One of you in the comments said that you felt like the smell of this was too overpowering, but to me it smells verdant, softly verdant, and I really like that. And it gives me that grit and volume. You use it without a conditioner, it deposits some clay into the roots of the hair, and it helps to keep it volumized and kind of keep it clean actually, because clay is also what's in dry shampoo. So I think that that's part of how it works. It's like soaks up oils as they eke out of the scalp. It just like keeps your hair fluffed up. So I've used this twice, I think maybe even 3 times since I got it. I love it so much. I would totally buy it again. These were 2 smash hit out of the park replacements choices for me, and I ordered them at the same time from Beautylish and they came in one package. So I just felt like that was a good kind of simple, very classic replacements situation, very straightforward. Feel great about those 2 things. Let's move into talking about the things I bought with my budget. So I did once again subscribe to Newly. I kept my subscription going. It's an $88 subscription for a month of rentals. You can rent 6 things. I was actually really glad that I had Newly in February because we went up to Portland to vend at a tango festival, and Portland is really cold and rainy and yucky, and I don't even own like a true blue winter coat anymore because I live in LA now and I'm trying to become like a minimalist version of my maximalist self when it comes to my closet. So that has meant for me whittling my winter coats down to the one that's like the lightweight or like midweight one that works as an overcoat in LA. But I knew that I was going to need more for Portland. And so I rented a heavy winter coat from Newly, and I also rented a couple of heavy sweaters, the likes of which I maybe have 1 or 2, but again, it's like I just don't have that full arsenal of like winter appropriate clothing like I used to have. I really feel like I used Newly in the way that it's intended, like it filled in a pinch. I took a bunch of rented clothes up to Portland and I wore the heck out of them when I was there. So that was great. And I'll report back about that more fully when I do my full review of Newly. I'm renting for a 3rd month, and this is one of the things that I rented from Newly this month. I actually tried to cancel and I got myself into kind of a bind because I didn't send my box back in time to cancel before it automatically renewed. That's not good. I'll go into detail about that again when I do my Newly review. That's just to say that I was hoping not to actually spend the $88 on Newly in March because I'm trying not to spend really anything right now, but I ended up being auto renewed. Moving on, looking down at my notes again. So in my check-in video, I said that I didn't buy anything for the first half of February, and then I stumbled into this sample sale on a dark day in the middle of February, and that kind of started my spending spree for the second half of the month. But that wasn't true. I had forgotten when I was filming that video that I did buy one thing at the very beginning of the month, and that was those silk pajama pants that match my silk robe. I did manage to find them. I did manage to buy them, and I'm really glad that I have the matching set. I wear it all the time. I did end up decluttering my one other pair of pajamas, the really, really old, grody cotton flea market men's pajama set, this like vintage men's pajama set that I've had for a really long time. Once I completed the set with the silk pants and the silk robe, I decluttered that other set, and I've been wearing those pajamas to bed almost every night. I sleep so well in them. My body loves silk. I sweat. I get really hot at night, and I feel like it's really cool and breathable, and I just absolutely love them. They were expensive though. They cost about the same amount as the robe, which was $130. So it's overall an insanely expensive, luxurious pajama set for me to be owning. It took a huge bite out of my monthly budget in January and another huge bite in February. I wouldn't trade it back. I'm glad that I own it, but this is just to say that by the time I stumbled into that sample sale halfway through February, I actually had already spent my entire February portion of my budget on Newly and on those pants. So I was already a little bit in the hole. It wasn't like a thing where I was like doing great and spending nothing and then suddenly I spent a bunch. It was like, no, I spent my entire budget, and then halfway through the month, I started spending again and I spent a bunch more of it. And when I say my entire budget, I mean if I were to divide my yearly budget into months, which is something that it's like a touchstone that I've been using. Intentionally, my budget this year is yearly because I'm just trying to see how I'll behave under those circumstances. But I'm using what I would be allowing myself to spend per month as kind of a touchstone to keep track of how much I'm overspending or how much I'm like borrowing back. So the first sample sale, this one, the one I'm telling you about, was from a brand ALC. And it was really interesting to be in there actually because all of the pieces were things that the brand was trying to sell off because they had been produced in some capacity as they were getting their pieces settled to go into production for the season. I don't know if it's making sense the way that I'm saying it, but it's just to say that like a lot of them seemed to have been runway pieces, like pieces that they had shown in a show and then later they had gone into production. And some of them were pieces that had been produced just to make notes on them, to alter the design. They had been like mocked up. And then there were even like some safety pins in some of them and some notes on some of them. Some of them even had marker marked on them, like, you know, smaller here, cut this here. It was like being in the warehouse where like the designing had happened in the studio, and then they had been like storing stuff in the warehouse as they had produced it, and then they had just decided to like sell everything off from the warehouse. So the things were in various stages of like completion, and some of them were just tests. Like the designers had like made something up just to be like, should we do something like this? And then the other designers had been like, yeah or no. And then they had been like, well, what should we do with this perfectly good pair of pants made out of gorgeous material and finished impeccably by a talented designer? Well, we'll just like sell it in the sample sale. So that's like the situation. And it was just so fun to poke around and like see what I found. I ended up buying 3 things. I actually am not going to show them to you here on camera because it's better for you to see them on my body. And I have actually featured all of them in outfit of the day photos on Instagram at some point. So I'm just going to put the outfit of the day pictures up. The first thing that I found was a really wild and cool sort of shrunken style leather jacket. It's very lightweight and the leather is very, very thin. So it's totally foldable. It's something that I can like squash down. And I'll put the picture up right now. It's a picture of Joe and me when we were getting ready to go out to dinner on my birthday. So I'm wearing a black silk dress with a pattern, and then I have a leather jacket on over it. So you can see that it's kind of short, it zips in the front. It's sort of like a windbreaker style design, except that it's this very, very lightweight leather. And then the sleeves are scrunched and they're really, really, really long. Like it has these absurdly long, comically long, editorially long sleeves. And that was kind of what sold me, because when I zip it up completely, it's really tight on my waist, and then it's got this like puffiness with these super long sleeves. It just looks very, very fashion. And when it's open, it's really comfortable. It fits perfectly in the shoulders, and it provides me that kind of layer of warmth that one frequently needs, especially in the evenings in LA, but without being too hot. And then the kicker is that it's so foldable and crushable. Wildly, I ended up taking this jacket with me both to Universal Studios and to Disneyland because I purchased it the week before my birthday weekend when my family was here, my mom and my sister. And when I was getting dressed to go to those parks, both times I was like, I need like a layer. I need some sort of cardigan, but I don't wear cardigans, so I don't have any. And again, I only really have the one jacket and it's kind of hefty. I didn't really have like an in-between weight jacket. So it serves a perfect function. I didn't have anything to serve this function. And I was able to fold it and roll it really tiny and put it in the bottom of my backpack and take it with me to those theme parks. And then when I got cold in the evenings, I was able to take it out and wear it. And that's just to have something that works that way, but also to have it be so stunning and fashionable, and also to have it be real leather and something that I feel is just, you know, fancy in its own way. It suits me very well. That to me was like the gem. So I found that in the sample sale and I was like, this is incredible. It was very inexpensive for what it is. The woman who was helping me at the sample sale said that she said that piece had gone into production. I haven't even looked, but maybe she was saying that pieces like that from this brand, when they went into production, especially the leather ones, were like $500+. And I believe her. I mean, I've looked at the website of the brand. It's like very, very, very pricey. And it was $125 that they were selling all outerwear for $125 at the sample sale. But to me, it was so worth it. Like it was a no-brainer. And as I looked through the sale, I found 2 pairs of pants, and it was, again, it's like a fit situation. One of them is something that I've dreamed of and never found, which is a really, really high-waisted, belted sort of paper bag style trouser that had roomy enough thighs to accommodate my legs and butt, because I have a very small waist compared to my legs and butt, and it's really hard for me to find like roomy trousers that have a high waist that's small enough to fit me. I think that these pants must have been a runway piece because the proportions are very unusual. And the pants were like $50 each. So I found those pants, and then I found another, I'll put those up. I should have had those up already on the screen. And then I found another pair of, again, like incredibly dramatic, long, wide-legged pants that are just impeccable in fit and very, very stylish. And I'll put a picture of those up on the screen right here too. And both of those pairs of pants are made out of really, really sturdy, luxurious fabric. I ended up spending a total of $175 at that sample sale, which is kind of a lot to spend all at once. To me, it didn't feel like a lot to be spending on those 3 really stunning and sturdy items of clothing, but it's definitely a lot in the context of the month that I was already having, and it's definitely a lot in context of my yearly budget. So that was that with the sample sale. I went into it knowing that I had already spent more than roughly 1 month's budget in February after having already spent more than 1 month's budget in January. And yet I went ahead and bought 3 things and spent almost $200. And then I was like, okay, that's got to just be it. I'm still like in okay territory. It's kind of intense, but that's just going to be it. But then when I was in Disneyland with my mom and my sister, I have never purchased any Disneyland merchandise. I'm very relatively new to being someone who enjoys going to the Disney parks. I have kind of a morbid fascination with the whole theme park empire. It's something that I have yet to really talk thoroughly about on my channel, but it's kind of like brewing inside of me, just like an intense interest in this aspect of the world. I'm aware of this interest, and I've recently been lightly on the lookout for like the one piece of Disney merchandise that's right for me, like something that would fit into my daily life that I could also wear if I ever go to the parks. I wasn't like actively on the lookout, I was passively on the lookout, but then I found it. And I don't know if you know this, I didn't know this before I started going to Disneyland a little bit, but they change the merch all the time. So there's always like the season's merch, like what's new. It's always just like all this new stuff, kind of like with makeup. So it's a situation where it's not like the same stuff is available all the time. I saw the thing that was right for me and I was like, this is it, and I'm just gonna get it. It's a sweatshirt. Again, I'll put up a picture of it. I've worn it on camera already, and I've worn it in an OOTD or 2. I purchased it in like an XXXL, like the biggest size that they had in stock, because I wanted it to be almost like a dress on me, like super, super oversized and cozy. I wanted it to be something I could just like throw on around the house. I've been really into investing in my loungewear for these last couple of months, and I love it. It was about $50. I don't regret a cent of it. I love it, and I've pretty much lived in it since I've gotten it. So it was a great choice. It was just like a great choice on top of a great choice at a sample sale, on top of a great choice buying these luxury pajamas, on top of a great choice renting some clothes to take to Portland. With a lot of great choices, it added up to a lot of money. The last 2 things are the ones that really pushed me over into the territory of like truly having spent over half my budget for the year. I have been on the lookout for a dream jumpsuit, like a tracksuit. So sweatpants that would be really cozy, a hoodie or something that matches it and that's like a little bit outlandish and really, really cozy feeling and just like statement, but also something that I can feel comfy wearing inside of the house, but also looks like a cool outfit when I go out of the house. It's something in the back of my mind I've been looking for months, and I saw my friend in Portland wearing the most amazing tracksuit, like velour striped on the sides, gorgeous looking, and I was like, that's it, like that's the one for me. I looked it up. It was really expensive. It's from this brand Aviator Nation. Everything's like handmade. So I thought I would go to the store at some point in Venice and try them on, the clothes on, just to see which size I am in the tops and the bottoms, maybe to put them on my wish list and to buy later in the year. That was really, truly my plan. But the first opportunity that I had to go to the store in Venice to try on the tracksuits was on my actual birthday, February 27th. My friend Julia was like, let's go out and just like hang out and like maybe go shopping and like try stuff on. So I was like, oh, then let's go to Venice because I want to try on these tracksuits. I could not have brought myself to buy both the sweatpants and the jacket together because they're wildly expensive. The sweatpants are like $170 something and the jackets are like $200. So I was not going to do that. In spite of me having problems and being the person that I am, I was not about to do that. Like that was past my limit. I wasn't. But I really loved the ones that I was trying on. And then Julia was like, what if I buy like one half? And I just couldn't say no. I just couldn't. Because it's again one of these situations where, and I'm trying hard not to use language of like justifying myself, because I don't feel like I need to justify myself to you or to me or to anyone, because it's my choice to like spend my yearly budget how I want and when I want. I recognized it as a really lucky special opportunity because it's a thing that I really wanted, a thing I was thinking about saving up for, but that I couldn't have brought myself to buy all at once. And with Julia offering to buy half of it, then I could bring myself to just buy the pants, even though it was going to take another bite out of my budget. Then I would be able to like live in this tracksuit, you know, and like wear it and feel great. And I really, really wanted it. And I determined that it was worth it in that moment. So she bought half, I bought half, and I ended up with this like bananas over the moon, beautiful, ridiculous, fashionable piece of loungewear that I love a lot. And I'll put a picture of that up on the screen right now as well. You might think that that's it. You might think that that's it, but that's not it. I did one more kind of spendy type thing in the month. I stumbled across another sample sale that was actually really pretty close to where I work, and the women who own this brand, I work close enough to them that I would sometimes like run into them. We were aware of each other, and I had like said hi to them and met them a lot of times. They run a brand called Donnie, and they were having a moving sale. So they were moving their studio from very close to where my studio is to another location. I had admired their clothes from afar a lot. I had looked at the website, I had admired the work of the designer, and I also just wanted to like go to the sample sale to support them and like say hi and just see how things were going and check in with them about their move and stuff like that. This is at the very, very end of the month. I think it might even have been like the 28th or the 29th. It was like right after my birthday. I was at work. It was like a work day, and I just stopped by the sample sale because I saw the signs for it. So I like went to the location, went in, said hi, and I started looking around, and I just ended up trying on some stuff and buying some stuff. I mean, recounting all of the things that I bought in a long list like this makes it seem so nuts. But I remember how I felt at that time. I was just like anything but me, like anything but facing my demons, anything but thinking about my life. And this was yet another thing that was allowing me to like jump ship from that stuff. Again, the things that I purchased are so beautiful. They sell linen pants or linen rayon flowy pants. That the fabric is just gorgeous. The cut is gorgeous. I know that I have a picture of myself wearing the red pair. I'll put actually a picture up on the screen of myself wearing a full outfit from Donnie. So you'll see the red orange pants, the waffle weave shirt with the pearl buttons, and the little silk headband. And through that picture, I'll be able to tell you what the other things are. So I purchased those red pants. This is the other thing. Their moving sale, the prices were like incredible. So those pants, those flowy linen pants, which usually cost, I think, well over $100, they were $25 each, the pants. So I got both pairs, the rusty red pair and also like a natural linen color pair. And then this, I believe, is the silk headband that I was wearing in that image. And the headbands, which usually, they're really amazing. They have like wire in them, so they're really easy to form. They retail, I think, for something like $65 or $68, but they were selling them at the sample sale for $5 because they were selling off stock because they were moving. So I purchased a handful of them. I purchased this silk one in this gorgeous rusty color. I purchased this velvet one, which is also in the gorgeous rusty color. It's just one long thing, but it has wire in it, and they're just like the perfect width, and the fabrics, the colors are so amazing. I purchased this mustardy gold silk one, and then I also purchased this one, which is in a different style with a stretchy back. That's the bow, the leopard print bow, and it's basically made out of like waxed linen, this one. And then I also went ahead and I got two for giveaways. This one I thought was another one of the mustard ones just like this, but it turns out that it's just like a long scarf that's mustard with like white or cream colored silk ends. And then I also got this one, which is the same as these, except it's like a brown silk. So I'm gonna do a giveaway for these on my Instagram, I think. So keep an eye out on my Instagram, probably in like a week or so. I'll do a giveaway over there. I'll show you how they work. I'm gonna put the velvet one on. So I really like that there's wire in them and you can kind of like sculpt the little tips like that. You can also, you know, tuck them in and make it a little bit less fashion, but I really like this flare. I really like that sort of bunny ear flare. Let's see if I put it on the side. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that on for the rest of the video. I'm really all about that. I had gotten my hair cut pretty recently. I maybe had just gotten it cut. It was something about like the combination of these new bangs and the way that the headbands look. I've always wanted to get into headbands. I didn't really own any headbands, and I've always wanted to like find some that work really well for me. It just seemed to make sense. They were such an amazing price. I have been wearing them like crazy since I got them, and the pants too, and the shirt too. So it's just like, once again, this paradox that I'm dealing with right now with my budget and my love of beautiful things and my self-knowledge, whereby all of the things that I just told you about, and maybe this is why it's like been hard to get this video out and it's like been hard to talk about it. All of the things I just told you about, I love them. I don't regret buying them. I feel weird about spending so much of my budget in 1 month. I feel weird about having done it under such difficult circumstances, like having done it when I wasn't feeling great. But I just love the things that I got. I couldn't love them more. So I feel I feel exhausted like talking about it. I feel exhausted of the whole thing. I'm really glad that I'm not buying anything now. Like I'm sticking to it. We're most of the way, partway through, at least halfway through March, I guess, right now. And since I sort of checked in with you, filmed my check-in, talked about how I'm putting myself on like a no buy for expensive things or splurges, since then, I've stuck to it. So I'm feeling, again, like exhausted and fine about it all. It's just going through the whole list is kind of a lot. My computer has stopped humming, so I'm going to bring it up here so that I can see my notes better. Okay, so all of that stuff added up, including the Nuuly rental, to $669. That was how much of my budget I ended up spending in February. And if you saw my my announcement about my budget at the beginning of the year, you'll know that my goal is to spend about $1,800 this year. But I said in that announcement video that I would like to keep it under, like I would like to make it a little bit less. And I'll be okay if it goes over. I'm trying to give myself a little leeway, a little breathing room, and see how I do. I did say very clearly in that video that if I went over $2,000 for the year, I would be disappointed in myself. And so that's kind of what I'm sticking at as like my absolute max. If I add what I spent in February to what I spent in January, then my yearly budget spent so far is $1,133. So when I say over half, I'm looking at my $2,000 max as my full amount. If I'm looking at $1,800, it's actually well over half that I've already spent. And it would be great if, given what happened in January and February, I could still stay under 1,800, and maybe I will still be able to. But I'm really kind of looking at 1,800, 2,000-ish, definitely under 2,000-ish as my yearly budget, and I have officially spent more than half of it. I didn't spend anything in February for my channel, so I didn't buy anything specifically for a review. I did actually buy something specifically for a review in March, and it hasn't come yet, but as soon as it does, I will start testing it out and I will review it. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. But I think because I knew I was spending so much money of my budget, I just felt weird, like also buying something for my channel on top of it. It just felt like it would be too much. I sort of had it in the back of my mind to maybe like spend less overall on my channel reviews spending, but upon reflection, I'm like, no, there really is a point to that channel spending. Like I set it aside for a reason. I'm committed to it for a reason, and I don't want to like go back on that. But I think maybe in February I was feeling a little bit intimidated by how much I was spending overall, and so I was kind of like not doing that in February. But you know, I'm back on the wagon now in March. I am going to review something that I purchased for the purpose of review. So let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the year of less stuff. Replacements this month were 2. The purchases that I made added up to 13 items. It's interesting, when I look over the list of things I bought, it's just like 5 or 6 line items. But because I purchased so many of these headbands, It's 13 items total, 13 added to my stuff number because of the things I spent my budget on in February. My birthday presents added up to 7. Here's a quick rundown of them. Joe gave me these earrings. My sister purchased the Disneyland trip for me as a birthday gift, and she also sent me flowers on my birthday. So she gave me 2 amazing, delightful gifts, neither of which added to my stuff number for the year. That was pretty cool. My parents gave me a Sephora gift certificate, and I ended up purchasing 2 items and receiving 2 items in the package. And I'm actually going to be reviewing all 4 of these items really soon on my channel, but I am keeping all 4 of them. So that was 4 new items into my life in February because of my birthday. And Julia purchased the hooded jacket from Aviator Nation for me as a birthday present. Simbri gave me these amazing Indie Lee exfoliating pads, which I absolutely love. I love this type of product. I'm so grateful for these. And that was it for February. Lauren also gave me a birthday present, but again, that was in March. So I'm going to report back about that at the end of March. But my birthday presents added up to 7 items in. Additional items in came from Purgatory, things that came in PR that I decided to keep when I did my reckoning. It seems like a long time ago now, but if you will recall, I kept 18 things from the Purgatory box in February, a huge number in my opinion. Right now it seems like a huge number. I do remember that almost all of the things that I kept are things that I will eventually use up, and probably use up like well before the end of the year. They were all things like this that like I'm going to go through. And then of the other things that I purchased myself or received as gifts, some of them are things that I will use up, like this and the shampoo. This I'll definitely be using up in a couple of months. And then I have 2 other things that came in PR that I didn't reckon with, but that kind of moved right into my life. One is the hairbrush that you guys saw, the Spornet hairbrush that you saw in my tour of my vanity. And the other is this notebook that I wanted to tell you about, and I've had it for kind of a long time. It's like a productivity notebook. It's by M. Rose Essentials. And it's kind of cool because it doesn't have dates. It's really, really simple. It just says date and you write in the date yourself. And then it says most important tasks, and you can make a list. And then at the bottom, it has check boxes for water, which I really appreciate. You can fill in the line for an exercise plan for that day, and then you can check it off when it's complete. And then the other side is completely blank. And I just find that the sort of looseness of it and the repetitiveness of it is like really, really great. So I kept this. Actually, this doesn't count as stuff in though, because this is a tool for work. It's just something that came in PR that I haven't really had like the right opportunity to show you. And I wanted to show it to you before it just gets like absorbed into my life and like never spoken of again. But the hairbrush definitely does count because it's a beauty product. So my 2 replacements, my 13 purchases, my 7 birthday presents, the 18 things that I kept from Purgatory, and the hairbrush. That's 41 items total. 41. That's so many things. And it doesn't feel like there are 41 new things in my life. This is why I'm keeping track of these things, right? I mean, I did use up a bunch of stuff in my empties and recycle the containers. I did declutter a lot of stuff. I've been combing through my closet. I've been going through my makeup. So there has been stuff out. All of this stuff in is stuff that I either am going to use up, like the skincare products, or that I really, really love and plan to like keep and wear forever. But still, it's a lot. And I dearly hope that I don't accept more than 40 things in any other given month into my life. I'm like letting myself just let go and see what happens. But that is what I hope. I hope that this is the most for any one month. I have been keeping track of my declutters and stuff on my stuff out list right here. And I haven't put any of my stuff in on my list because I wanted to do it all at once in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 41 things on the stuff inside. So that's how we're looking right now. I added the 41 items on stuff in, but I'm still way ahead with stuff out. Just to reiterate it, just to be clear, I'm not being super precise with my stuff in and stuff out. It's just a way for me to have like a general sense of the levels of things in my life. I know that there are things that I've like accepted or not purchased because I've been very careful with purchases, but I just know there are things floating around that I've forgotten to account for. And I know that I've like given stuff away and decluttered stuff that I've forgotten to account for. I know that I have. I am going to count everything again at the end of the year, and I'm sure that that count will be different from what I end up having recorded. Even though I know that the count on this stuff in, stuff out sheet isn't exact down to the number, I do know that its general story, like the tale that it generally tells, which is that I have about twice as much stuff that's gone out than I do have stuff that's come in. I know that that is true because it's not so wildly inaccurate as to have that be wrong. And that is just the point of that. I am not totally mincingly obsessed with the numbers. I'm just trying to like keep general track of how things are going, because it's not really about the numbers. It's really about behavior. But I do find that adding things up and just generally trying to understand what the behavior adds up to numerically can help. It's a helpful kind of self-reflection for me. Okay, that is it, you guys. I feel a little bit like deflated and tired, and like there are things, I mean, there aren't things that I've forgotten to report back about because I kept careful track of everything in my document. But I feel like there might be things that I wanted to say about this that I forgot to say. I was going to try not to get like too into the emotional stuff, but I did it anyway. And I think that's probably why I feel so exhausted. Let me know, like, yeah, if you have questions about anything, let me know down below. And again, like, please be kind. You guys know, especially if you watched that other video, that it's been kind of rough going for me these first 2 months. And it's very rough going, I feel like, for everyone in the world right now. It has been extraordinarily tough going for the citizens of downtown Los Angeles during the filming of this video. There have just been like unrelenting sirens and horns and fire trucks and all of that stuff. I feel like way more than usual, but I cannot stop and start again whenever there's a siren because they're just too frequent. And if I did that, I would drive myself crazy. So I hope that it wasn't too bad for this video. I try not to like talk too much about it or apologize about it, but I know it's kind of like an unusual level of noise for a YouTube video. So I really appreciate you guys putting up with that. So to recap, I spent $669 of my roughly $2,000 yearly budget all in the month of February. I replaced 2 items. Those were outside of my budget, things that I'm able to replace without spending my budget on them. I received some things for my birthday. I kept some things from February. I ended up with 41 more things than I had owned before, but I got rid of a lot of things as well, and I'm still staying ahead with fewer things. I definitely have nicer things now than I had before. I love everything I bought, but I'm going to try not to really buy anything of note until June or July of this year. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.